You see them everywhere at hospitals, right? On TV shows,
Yeah.
maybe even in real life. Those IV bags hanging there.
Absolutely essential.
Totally essential.
Yeah.
Life-saving, often. But we don't really stop and think about the huge industry behind getting those fluids where they need to go.
That's right. The transfer devices themselves.
Exactly. So today, we're doing a deep dive into that fascinating world. The IV fluid transfer devices market. We've got this great market analysis report here from Cognitive Market Research. It covers 2021 all the way out to 2033.
Comprehensive.
Yeah, really comprehensive. It lets us look at the global picture, regional trends, all that good stuff. Our goal is really just to pull out the key takeaways, of the surprising bits maybe, and give you a shortcut to understanding where this vital market is actually heading.
And it's quite a picture. I mean, just looking at the scale globally, it's pretty striking. These devices generated almost $6,005,975 million, to be precise, back in 2021. Then it jumped to about $7.16 billion by 2025. And the projection, it's heading towards, well, nearly $10.3 billion by 2033.
$10.3 billion, that's substantial.
It really is. And that works out to a pretty solid compound annual growth rate, the CGR, of about 4.6%.
Okay, 4.6%. That sounds like steady, healthy growth.
It is. It reflects that continuous, global need for these fundamental medical tools.
Right. So let's unpack that growth then. If it's growing steadily overall, where are the sort of the big hubs right now? And maybe more interestingly, where's the really dynamic expansion happening? Should we start with North America? It seems like a major player.
Definitely. North America currently holds a really significant chunk of this market, a big lead.
Okay.
So in 2021, their revenues were around $2.26 billion.
Right.
That climbed to about $2.66 billion in 2025, and the projection is for almost $3.7 billion by 2033.
Yeah.
So that translates to a CGR for North America of about 4.2%.
So still strong growth, even from a large base.
Exactly. And it's largely driven by, what you'd expect, established healthcare infrastructure, high spending per person on healthcare, things like that.
Makes sense. So drilling down a bit within North America, who's really powering that, what's the story with the U.S. versus Canada versus Mexico? Any, interesting differences there?
Yeah, absolutely. The U.S., as you might guess, takes the lion's share. It started around $1.86 billion in 2021, and it's projected to hit just shy of $3 billion by 2033. That's growing at a bit over 4% annually, a huge base, like you said.
Right.
Canada, though, interestingly, shows slightly faster growth, very consistent expansion. It's going from about $244 million in 21 to around $433 million by 33. That's nearly a 5% CAGR.
Okay. Higher than the U.S. rate.
Yeah, a bit higher. Often reflects, ongoing investments in their universal healthcare system, maybe an aging population needing more care, too.
Right, right.
And then Mexico, it progressed from about $158 million in 21, projected to hit around $265 million by 2033. That's a healthy 4.4% growth rate, likely driven by improving healthcare access, maybe some medical tourism factors in there too.
Yeah, that's a really clear picture for North America. Thanks.
Yep.
Let's pivot across the Atlantic. Europe. How does it stack up size-wise, growth-wise? What are the trends?
Okay, Europe, its market was valued around $1.53 billion back in 2021.
Right.
That increased to just under $1.8 billion by 2025, and the forecast takes it to about $2.5 billion or $2.51 billion by 2033. So HCGR there of about 4.27%. Very similar, actually, to North America's overall rate.
Interesting. And within Europe, any standouts?
Yeah, if you break it down, Germany is definitely a powerhouse. It's projected to reach over $532 million by 2033, and its growth rate is strong, almost 5%, 4.97%.
Right.
Which, reflects its strong economy, advanced healthcare system. No big surprise there. The UK, France, Italy also show steady growth. The UK is set to go from around $208 million up to $356 million. France from about $210 million to $325 million. Italy from $162 million to $257 million. All showing, solid growth, maybe slightly different rates, but all positive.
Okay, solid growth across the board mostly.
Yeah.
But I think I saw in the notes there's one country that seems to be lagging a bit behind the others in Europe.
Yeah.
Rate-wise?
That's right, you picked up on that. Russia recorded noticeably slower growth. It translates to just a 2.86% CAGR.
Oh, okay. That's quite a bit lower.
It is. It's rising from about $86 million in 2021, projected to $120 million by 2033. That slower pace compared to, say, Germany or the UK.
Yeah.
Well, it could be a mix of things. Economic pressures, maybe policy shifts, perhaps different investment levels in medical infrastructure compared to Western Europe.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Other countries like Spain, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg, they were generally seeing growth rates more in that sort of 3.4 to 4.6% range, closer to the European average.
Okay. Now, this next bit, this is where the report suggests things get really interesting. A big global shift, maybe? Asia Pacific, apparently the fastest growing region. What is driving that incredible momentum?
This really is the growth engine, no question. The market there was valued around $1.35 billion in 2021.
Still smaller than Europe or North America at the start then?
Yes, smaller starting base, but look at the trajectory. It hit nearly $1.68 billion in 2025, and it's projected to soar past $2.6 billion by 2033.
Wow.
Growing at a remarkable 5.64% CAGR, that's significantly faster than North America or Europe.
Definitely. So what's behind that surge?
It's really a combination of factors. You've got rapidly expanding economies, rising disposable incomes, which means better healthcare access for more people.
Right.
Massive populations, obviously, and also a rising prevalence of chronic diseases that often require OSC therapies.
Makes sense. Any specific countries leading that charge?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. India showed the strongest growth within the region. It's projected to more than double, from about $171 million in 21 to over $367 million by 33. That's an impressive 6.56% CAGR.
6.5%.
Yeah. Often attributed to big government pushes to improve healthcare infrastructure, plus a booming medical tourism sector there.
Okay.
Then China, already huge, right? It contributed nearly $392 million back in 2021, but it's projected to surge to over $772 million by 2033. That's a robust 5.84% CAGR, driven by its vast and, importantly, rapidly aging population.
Huge numbers.
Huge numbers. And don't forget Southeast Asia. That cluster of countries is also seeing a massive surge, growing from around $94 million to over $195 million. That's a 6.25% annual rate, as many of those nations rapidly develop their healthcare systems.
Incredible growth across that whole region.
It really is. And other key players like Japan, South Korea, Australia, Singapore, Taiwan, they're all contributing strongly too. The TGR is mostly around 4.5 to 6%. It's a broad expansion.
That absolutely highlights the dynamic shifts happening. Okay, let's keep moving around the globe. South America. How is that region contributing? What are its patterns?
South America's market, it was valued around $317 million in 2021. It's projected to reach nearly $569 million by 2033. So that's growing at a healthy 4.98% CAGR. Almost 5%.
Okay, strong growth there too.
Yeah, definitely solid, often tied to increasing healthcare investments, maybe improving economic stability in some countries, expanding healthcare coverage.
And who's leading there?
Brazil leads in terms of overall size. Revenues projected to hit over $201 million by 2033, showing about 4.8% growth. But interestingly, Argentina showed even stronger momentum rate-wise, a CAGR of 5.42%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, projected to grow from about $67 million in 21 to over $126 million by 33. So it suggests, a real focus on modernizing medical facilities, expanding care in those leading South American economies. Colombia, Peru, Chile, others also showing good growth.
Got it. Okay, next up, the Middle East. Similar patterns. Any unique drivers we should know about?
The Middle East. Revenues there totaled about $281 million in 2021. Expected to reach nearly $496 million by 2033. That's a CAGR of 4.84%. Again, quite strong.
Pretty consistent with South America, then.
Very similar rate, yeah. The growth there seems largely fueled by significant government investments in healthcare infrastructure, often driven by oil wealth, and this ambition in some countries to become regional medical hubs.
Right, like the UAE.
Exactly. The UAE is a prime example. Rapid expansion, growing from around $57 million in 21 to over $106 million by 33. That's a strong 5.36% growth rate. Turkey also showed robust growth, 5.15% CAGR, rising from about $55 million to $101 million. Again, these are countries actively building hospitals, clinics, which directly drives demand for these essential devices. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar also contributing significantly.
Makes total sense. Okay, last region on our tour, Africa. What's the picture for IV fluid transfer devices there?
Africa represents, well, it's an emerging market, but with significant potential down the line. The market was valued around $239 million in 2021.
Okay.
It's projected to rise to nearly $418 million by 2033. That's growing at about 4.28% CAGR.
So a similar rate to Europe and North America, but from a smaller base.
Exactly. The growth, while smaller in total dollar terms right now, is really crucial. It reflects improving healthcare access, increased foreign aid playing a role, local investments in medical facilities starting to pick up across the continent.
Any specific countries to highlight?
Yeah, Nigeria, for instance, is projected to reach over $68 million by 2033 with about a 4.5% CAGR. South Africa is a key player on the continent, expected to hit over $158 million by 2033. That's reflecting a strong 4.94% CAGR, growing from about $84 million back in 2021.
Okay.
So it indicates, a growing focus on both basic and more specialized medical care in these key African nations. The rest of Africa also growing, though maybe a bit slower overall.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground there. So let's try and put it all together. What's the big narrative here? We've seen this really robust global market overall. North America holding a big, stable share. Europe expanding steadily, though with some interesting variations like Russia. And then Asia Pacific just really charging ahead as the growth engine.
Yeah, that's a great summary. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it just underscores how fundamentally important healthcare infrastructure is everywhere, and the relentless ongoing demand for these absolutely essential medical devices.
Right.
The strong growth, especially that accelerating pace you see in Asia Pacific, it strongly suggests increasing access to medical treatments, but also increasing sophistication of those treatments in many parts of the world. It's a clear signal of global health systems expanding, evolving. So yeah, to sum it up, the IV fluid transfer devices market looks set on a really strong growth path globally. Main drivers seem to be population growth, aging populations worldwide, and just increasing investment in healthcare.
And the regional story.
Asia Pacific clearly emerging as the fastest growing region, led by those powerhouses: India, China, Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, you've got the mature markets, North America and Europe, they're continuing their steady expansion. And the emerging markets in South America, the Middle East, and Africa are all contributing significantly to this really vital global industry. They're all part of the story.
It really paints a picture of, well, a silent but essential piece of global health. This deep dive really highlights not just the economic trends, which are fascinating, but also that critical everyday work happening in hospitals and clinics everywhere. So as this market keeps growing, keeps evolving, here's something maybe for you, our listeners, to think about. What does this sustained global expansion of essential medical device markets like this one, what does it imply for the future?
For global healthcare access.
For the quality of patient care worldwide?
That's a great question.
Yeah, something to mull over as you go about your day.